Late one stormy night, as thunder rumbled and rain pounded against the windows, Sarah found herself alone in her creaking old house. Her parents were away for the weekend, and an eerie feeling settled over her as she navigated the darkened rooms, the flickering candlelight casting ominous shadows on the walls. With each passing moment, the storm grew more intense, the wind howling like a mournful spirit outside. Sarah huddled on the couch, trying to shake off her unease by reading a book. But as the minutes stretched on, an inexplicable sensation of being watched began to creep over her. She told herself it was just her imagination, that the stories she'd heard about the old house's ghostly past were mere tales. Determined to dismiss her fears, she rose and headed to the kitchen for a glass of water. Just as she reached for a glass, a chilling whisper tickled her ear. She froze, her heart pounding like a drum. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for the source of the sound, but she saw nothing. Brushing it off as a trick of her mind, she took a shaky breath and filled her glass. As she turned to leave the kitchen, she caught a glimpse of movement from the corner of her eye, a shadowy figure darting across the hallway. Her breath caught in her throat and a shiver ran down her spine. She knew she couldn't ignore this any longer. Summoning her courage, Sarah ventured into the hallway, the dim light casting eerie glows on the old portraits that adorned the walls. The air felt heavy, pregnant with an anticipation she couldn't explain. The whisper came again, closer this time, its words unintelligible yet filled with a sense of urgency.
"Who's there?" Sarah's voice quivered as she called out. But the only response was the creaking of the floorboards beneath her feet. She pressed on, her heart racing, until she found herself standing before the door to the basement, a door she had always avoided. The whisper grew more insistent, a chorus of ghostly voices urging her forward. With trembling hands, she reached for the doorknob and descended into the murky depths. The air grew colder, and the faint light from her candle flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The basement was a labyrinth of forgotten relics and discarded memories. Sarah's candle illuminated old furniture draped with dusty sheets and crates filled with forgotten belongings. But what caught her attention was a mirror, a large, ornate mirror standing against the far wall, its surface reflecting distorted images in the dim light.
As she approached the mirror, a feeling of dread gnawed at her gut. Her reflection stared back at her, but there was something off, something unsettling in the way her own eyes seemed to hold secrets she didn't know. Then, as if responding to her growing unease, the candle's flame flickered and went out. In the darkness, the mirror seemed to pulse with a strange energy. Sarah's breath quickened as the whispers grew louder, intertwining with her own racing thoughts. She felt a presence behind her, and when she turned, a ghastly figure emerged from the shadows. A woman in a tattered gown, her eyes hollow and filled with a haunting sadness. The woman reached out, her fingers brushing Sarah's arm. Coldness spread from the point of contact, sending shivers down her spine. The woman's lips moved, forming words that Sarah couldn't hear. But the meaning was clear. The figure was trapped, caught between worlds, and she sought a way to communicate.
With a jolt, Sarah realized that the whispers she had heard were not meant to frighten her but to guide her. The woman wanted her help, wanted her to uncover the truth behind her restless spirit. Filled with a mix of fear and empathy, Sarah nodded, her determination to assist outweighing her own terror. She returned upstairs and began to research the history of the house. It was then that she uncovered a tragic tale. A young woman named Eleanor had once lived in the house, and her life had been marred by heartache and betrayal. Eleanor had died under mysterious circumstances, and her spirit had lingered, trapped by her unresolved emotions. Armed with this knowledge, Sarah returned to the basement, the mirror seeming to resonate with newfound purpose. She closed her eyes and reached out to the ghostly figure, her mind filled with empathy and a desire to help. Slowly, Eleanor's form began to dissipate, a soft light enveloping her until she was gone, her spirit finally at peace.
The basement grew still, the whispers fading into the air. The house felt different now, the heaviness lifted. Sarah knew that she had played a part in freeing Eleanor's spirit, in bringing closure to a chapter that had long been left open. As dawn broke and the storm subsided, Sarah stood before the mirror one last time. She saw her own reflection, her eyes holding a newfound understanding of the otherworldly forces that could shape her reality. And as the sun's first rays touched the mirror's surface, she felt a sense of gratitude and acceptance, an assurance that the world was full of mysteries waiting to be unveiled.
Echoes of the forgotten. In the heart of a dense forest, a forgotten cabin stood in silence. Mia, an adventurous soul, stumbled upon it during a trek. Drawn by its mysterious aura, she decided to spend a night there, setting up a small campfire inside for warmth. As darkness draped the forest, a chill crept into the cabin. Mia's fire crackled, casting flickering shadows on the walls. An old journal lay on a dusty table, its pages filled with the desperate writings of a previous occupant. The cabin's past whispered through those words, of a recluse tormented by isolation and loss. Curiosity stirred. Mia opened the journal. The more she read, the heavier the air became. Whispers, faint at first, seemed to drift through the cabin. Unease gnawed at her as she ventured outside, her flashlight piercing the inky blackness. The forest appeared different under the moonlight, a place teeming with secrets, where shadows danced and trees seemed to whisper their stories. As Mia explored, the whispers grew louder, forming eerie melodies that echoed through the woods. Her heart raced, every rustle of leaves causing her to turn with a start. Back in the cabin, she found the journal detailing strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, disembodied footsteps, and eerie apparitions. The cabin, it seemed, held memories it refused to release. The air seemed charged with energy, and Mia's flashlight flickered as if responding to the surrounding unease. Attempting to shrug off her fear, Mia settled into a chair, her eyes fixed on the journal. She gasped as a shadowy figure appeared in the corner of the room, its form shifting and indistinct. Frozen, she watched as the figure moved closer, a silent plea in its translucent eyes. Mia's heart pounded as she realized she was not alone. The cabin was home to a lingering spirit, trapped by its own tragic past. Drawing on courage she didn't know she possessed, she spoke softly, offering comfort to the apparition. As Mia's words filled the cabin, a melancholic melody filled the air. The figure's features became clearer, its eyes reflecting gratitude. It was as if the spirit had been waiting for acknowledgement, for someone to listen to its untold story. Through tear-filled eyes, Mia witnessed memories of a bygone era, a love lost, a life cut short. The whispers became a symphony of emotions, revealing the pain and longing that had tethered the spirit to the cabin. And as the first light of dawn touched the horizon, the spirit slowly dissipated, leaving behind an air of bittersweet serenity. Mia stepped outside, the forest now tranquil. The sun's warmth was a stark contrast to the chilly night. She knew she had been part of something extraordinary, a bridge between the living and the forgotten. The cabin seemed to exhale its secrets, the whispers fading like a distant echo. As Mia walked away, the forest behind her seemed to sigh in relief, its past finally at rest. And though the cabin stood as silent as ever, it held a newfound sense of tranquility, its ghostly inhabitant finally free from the echoes of its tragic tale.
The silent watcher of Willow Lake. Nestled in the heart of the countryside, Willow Lake had always exuded a serene charm. But beneath its tranquil surface lay a tale of darkness that had haunted the townsfolk for generations. As the town's librarian, Emma was drawn to stories of the past, and the legend of the Silent Watcher had intrigued her since childhood. Rumors whispered of a shadowy figure that appeared on the lake's shore during moonlit nights, its presence a harbinger of misfortune. Emma had dismissed these stories as superstitious folklore, until one fateful evening when she ventured to the lake on a whim. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an ethereal glow upon the water's surface. The air was still, the world hushed in anticipation. Emma stood at the edge of the lake, the legend echoing in her mind. She laughed at her own folly, chiding herself for indulging in childhood tales. But as the minutes ticked by, a creeping unease settled over her. A chill ran down her spine, and she felt as though invisible eyes were watching her every move. Dismissing her unease, she turned to leave, but her footsteps seemed to echo in a disconcerting rhythm. Out of the corner of her eye, Emma caught a glimpse of movement. She turned, her heart skipping a beat. And there it was, a figure shrouded in darkness, standing at the water's edge. The silent watcher. Panic rose within her, but her curiosity was stronger, rooted in her fascination with the unknown. She approached cautiously, her flashlight piercing the obscurity. The figure remained still, a sentinel of the night. Emma's voice quivered as she spoke, asking who it was and why it haunted the lake. Silence enveloped her, broken only by a soft, melancholic sigh that seemed to emanate from the figure itself. It was then that she saw its face, pale and ethereal. The eyes that met hers were haunted, filled with a sorrow that sent shivers down her spine. The figure seemed to reach out, its hand trembling in the moonlight. Emma hesitated, her heart a tumultuous symphony of fear and compassion. As if guided by an invisible force, Emma extended her hand to meet the figures. The moment their hands touched, a flood of emotions coursed through her. Grief, longing, and a deep sense of loss. The figure's form wavered, as if struggling to maintain its presence, and then it began to speak. The voice that emerged was a whisper, a ghostly echo of a life once lived. It told a tale of forbidden love, of a tragic romance that had unfolded in the shadows of Willow Lake centuries ago. The figure was the spirit of a young woman, Isabella, who had drowned herself after her love was torn apart by circumstance. Tears welled in Emma's eyes as she listened, feeling the weight of Isabella's pain. She held onto the spirit's hand, offering a connection that seemed to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. Isabella's story, untold for generations, poured forth like a river of memories. As the night waned, Isabella's form became translucent, fading with the light of dawn. Emma's grip tightened, her voice cracking as she promised to remember and honor the story of the silent watcher. Isabella's eyes held gratitude, and with a final sigh, she dissolved into the morning mist. Emma stood alone by the lake, the sun's rays warming her skin. The legend of the silent watcher had transformed from a mere tale to a poignant chapter of history. She returned to town with a sense of purpose, determined to share Isabella's story and ensure her memory endured. Years later, as Emma passed the lake, she felt a presence, a whisper of gratitude on the wind. Isabella's legacy lived on through the stories she shared, a testament to the power of empathy and the enduring connection between the living and the spirits that linger in the shadows.
Echoes of the abandoned manor. Nestled in a remote countryside, the dilapidated Hawthorne Manor stood as a testament to time's relentless march. The village whispered of its haunted past, and Lily, an adventurous soul, couldn't resist its eerie allure. Armed with curiosity and a flashlight, she ventured into the decaying halls one moonlit night. The air inside was heavy, a tapestry of dust and forgotten memories. Moonlight filtered through broken windows, casting elongated shadows on the crumbling walls. Lily's footsteps echoed as she explored room after room, determined to uncover the truth behind the legends. As midnight approached, Lily found herself in a grand library. A sense of foreboding lingered, but her fascination urged her onward. She stumbled upon an old diary, its pages fragile with age. It belonged to Eleanor, a former inhabitant whose words painted a chilling portrait of the manor's history. Lily's heart raced as she read of dark rituals and whispers in the night, of family secrets buried beneath layers of deceit. A shiver ran down her spine as the diary's words seemed to echo in the silent room, as if Eleanor's voice still lingered within its pages. Drawn deeper into the mystery, Lily ventured to the manor's neglected ballroom. Moonlight filtered through broken stained glass, casting a kaleidoscope of colors on the floor. A soft melody seemed to drift on the breeze, the remnants of a long-forgotten waltz. As Lily stood there, a phantom presence materialized before her, an elegant figure in a flowing gown, her eyes distant and sad. Lily's breath caught as the figure extended a hand, a silent invitation to dance. Hesitation warred with intrigue, but the allure was too strong to resist. Their ethereal waltz felt both haunting and beautiful, a dance across the boundary of life and death. Lily's heartbeat synchronized with the ghostly rhythm, and for a moment she felt a connection that transcended time itself. The figure's eyes held stories untold, a longing for something left incomplete. With the dance's end, the figure's form began to fade, her presence like mist dispersing in the wind. Lily's voice trembled as she spoke, her words carrying the weight of understanding, a shared moment between two souls, bridging the gap between past and present. The figure, a woman named Isabel, shared her tale, a love affair doomed by societal constraints, a family torn apart by betrayal. Isabel's voice was a whisper, a haunting melody that painted a portrait of heartache and loss. Her spirit was trapped, anchored to the manor by the echoes of her unfinished story. As dawn broke, Lily watched as Isabel's form faded into the morning light. The manor seemed to exhale, its secrets temporarily sated. Lily left, her heart heavy with the weight of Isabel's story. She carried the responsibility of sharing the truth, of honoring the spirits that lingered within the walls. Years later, the manor was restored, its walls echoing with new life. Lily's efforts had brought attention to its history, and Isabel's story was known to all who visited. The manor, once haunted by whispers of the past, now stood as a tribute to the souls that had once called it home. As Lily gazed at the renovated manor, she felt a sense of closure, a connection that spanned generations. The echoes of the abandoned manor had been transformed into a symphony of remembrance, a reminder that even in the shadows of the past, there was beauty to be found. Don't miss a single tale of mystery and intrigue. If you've been captivated by the haunting stories we've shared today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Join our community of curious souls as we delve into the realms of the supernatural, unraveling the enigmatic threads of history and uncovering the secrets that lie hidden in the shadows. Prepare to be spellbound by our captivating narratives, so you'll never miss out on a spine-tingling adventure. Subscribe now and embark on a journey beyond reality. Don't miss a single tale of mystery and intrigue. If you've been captivated by the haunting stories we've shared today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Join our community of curious souls as we delve into the realms of the supernatural, unraveling the enigmatic threads of history and uncovering the secrets that lie hidden in the shadows. Prepare to be spellbound by our captivating narratives, so you'll never miss out on a spine-tingling adventure. Subscribe now and embark on a journey beyond reality.